Hello everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a while, I haven't done any tutorials, but I'm going to actually talk about how can we create a Jenkins instance in AWS using some automatic provisioning. Okay, um, so I'm gonna actually talk about the repository I have in GitHub that I made public, and using that you should be able to do provision a Jenkins instance for yourself. So there are, however, some prerequisites you need to do. So the README has a few prerequisites listed. We have to install Packer locally, also install Ansible locally, Terraform locally. You also need to have AWS CLI locally and JQ locally. And you do need to run AWS configure with your configuration. And using that, we should be able to um, go ahead and run this pretty easily. Okay, so in order for us to be able to continue this, I've already cloned this repository, and I will go ahead and open it up. It's over here, and you can follow the README here or from the repository, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay, when I say that, there's literally one thing we need to do if we followed all the prerequisites of running everything. There's one thing I realized I didn't mention earlier is we will need to export our AWS access key and AWS secret key for your user on that AWS account. And I'll probably have to update this README, but having said that, what we will do now is we will just follow this. Once we have the prerequisites, um, we will just try to see if this works on the first try. Okay, let's find out the main.assets, and well, before running that, I wanted to actually cover what we're going to do here. Okay, so if we look into main.assets, there are a few functions here. Bash. So we're actually creating an AMI. So Packer is something that we can use to create the AMI for AWS or any other cloud providers. But we're going to use this for creating AMI for AWS. So Packer, just has a few commands. We will just need to run Packer build, pointing it to a JSON file. Okay, this JSON file is inside a Packer folder, and that has a bunch of configuration files that we need. So basically, Packer will actually install Jenkins inside the AMI for us. Once we have the AMI, the next thing we will need to do is grab the AMI ID, and this block right here programmatically captures the AMI ID for us. And then the next thing would be for us to launch the instance itself. And in order for us to launch the instance, we will need to first create the key. Ideally, this is something that we could have done using the UI, but just for the sake of simplicity, I wrote a script that actually does that for us. And it randomly generates a key for you, so that we don't even need to worry much about having issues running this. Okay, and the next thing it will actually do is run the Terraform apply command. So Terraform is something that we use to provision infrastructure on various clouds. In this case, we're going to use AWS. In order for us to do that, it will actually do a bunch of things here. It will do Terraform init, Terraform plan, and it will actually go inside the Terraform folder. You can actually see there are a bunch of things here. There's some variables declared. There's some main.tf file that actually has all the scripts to create the security groups, create the route tables, and everything related to infrastructure. So if we actually go back here, so that's the end of it. So let's go ahead and run the main.assets and see. So now we can see that it's actually created the key. You can actually see it here. It also changed the terraform.tfvars file by writing the Jenkins key name over here. That's the key name that we'll be using. And we have predefined some pseudo range for the VPC, and you can actually change it to suit your needs, but just for simplicity, I'm going to be using a T2 medium instance, very small volume, and on US EC2. So right now what this is doing, it's actually running the Terraform plan. It will write a file for that Terraform plan out in this folder, and then it will run the Terraform apply. So if we look into here, what this is doing right now is it's doing the Terraform plan, and then it will write a Jenkins.terraform file, which I can see here. Well, this is the out, so we won't be able to see that right now. But once that's written over here, what this will do is it will actually do a Terraform apply with that particular file, and the infrastructure in the backend will be provisioned. So while this is happening, we can actually go to our AWS console, navigate over to, let's say, EC2, and see if there are any instances running. So we can actually see that there's one instance running that's doing the Packer build, and it's initializing. If we also look into the key pairs, there is one new key pair that has been created. You can actually see the key pairs are randomly generated, and the E528, I believe, is the one, E528. So this is the one that's actually being created. So there's a lot of things that will go in this particular steps. Okay, the first thing creates the AMI. Let's see if we can verify by going into the AMIs to see if it has created any AMI. So you can actually see there is a new AMI being created. There are some older ones here, but this is the one that I just did right now, and it's pending. So when I actually said earlier that it was doing Terraform, I was probably wrong, because it's probably still doing the AMI. So let's just go back to the logs and see what's going on here. Okay. Yep, it's doing the Packer build right now. So once that AMI actually gets ready, which sometimes it might take a few minutes, or we can actually see it. It created it, but it hasn't been ready. Once it's ready, it will move on to the next step. Okay, and let's see. So after this, it will grab the AMI ID, and then that will be needed for the next steps. And then and a couple of other things I was mentioning about JQ. JQ is a really nice tool that can actually let you play with JSON files. So here, what I'm doing is I'm actually traversing the JSON using JQ, and then grabbing the artifact ID, and then making that grabbing the AMI, and then passing that along to the TFVars file. Okay, so it's waiting for the AMI to become ready, which we can see over here. It's it's saying it's pending. So there are some things that it needs to do in the back end. But while that is happening, we can actually look into what Packer can do, right? This is you can actually define your machine image itself, and a lot of times having a preloaded applications inside an AMI can make a lot of things easier. So you just have to run it, and you already have things that are needed. And it actually is pretty straightforward. There's just this JSON file that we need to write, and it actually runs with major cloud providers like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. So this is a great tool. If you have not used it, I highly suggest you to take a look into this. And let's also keep track of what's going on. So it seems like our Packer build finished, right? It ran through our commands, and then it actually ran the Terraform init, and then created a plan. So, everything seems positive here, which is really good. And now what it's doing is it's actually, going through various stuff from our min.tf file, like creating the VPC, inner gateway. There is a subnet and everything. So, yep. So it seems like we are successful in creating our Jenkins instance. So let's go ahead into AWS Console and verify under the instances that, okay, there you go. This is the instance that was created, the T2 medium. And if we go, okay, this is a little interesting. There you go. So if you look into the details, it actually has the public IPv4 address. This is what we'll be using to actually connect to Jenkins. Let's just copy that. But there's one small thing that we need to do. Jenkins by default has some restrictions in place that doesn't let you, really. Let's see what I've done here. Interestingly, this didn't work. Let's see. There might be some port issues. Okay. It's port 8080. That's why. So this is where it should actually run. And there you go. So in order for us to unlock Jenkins, we will need to actually get into the AWS EC2 instance and then grab it. I mean, this is actually a great thing because we don't want public access to this Jenkins from everyone. So it's good to actually unlock it and let you actually unlock it from going into the instance. So at this point, we will try to actually go into the instance. And in order for us to be able to get into this instance, we will need to use the SSH key that was generated for us, which let's find out which one is the security. Okay, they've changed the okay, let's see, where is the key pair? Okay, yep, so this is the key pair that we will be using. So let's go over here, add that PEM key, and now we can do add the IP address of that instance, which is the 18.224.19.120, and let's just confirm. So now we're in the instance, right? So let's see which path it's telling us. Okay, it's over here. We'll just copy it and do a cat. Okay, it's not letting me. Now let's see if it will let me do that. There we go. So this is something I will need to go over here, paste it, and continue. Not now, because it will probably ask me to create a new profile for over here. Sometimes the plugins are getting initialized at this point as well, so it's just showing us that loading part. So while this is happening, I'm just going to go ahead and say what's going on here. So we created an EC2 instance, right? And under that EC2 instance, we have a public IP, so that we've also opened up a few ports 80, 80, 80, 22 for SSH. These two are for Kibana and Logstash that we'll probably cover for our next. The plan is to automatically create Jenkins and then use Jenkins file to actually create the elk stack. So that's in the works, and there you go. Let's just skip plugin installations, and we can create a new user, but let's just skip and continue as admin. Let's just do this, right? So there you go. We have a Jenkins on the cloud that's accessible for admin using the password. So from here we can do a lot of things. We can go to manage Jenkins and manage plugins. So basically we can just look for the plugins, and then just click on it and then install the plugins. Okay, so that's how you can actually just use it. Very simple to create the Jenkins instance that's ready for you to use. So if you've actually followed along with this tutorials, you can keep running your Jenkins like this, or if you're just practicing along, you can go ahead and destroy it, so that you're not gonna incur any charges. So in order for us to really do that, let's exit out of this instance, right? Go back to our Terraform folder, and then we will run Terraform destroy. So what this will do is it will just delete everything that we have created. It will ask for you to tell if you want to really delete everything. So I'm just going to type yes, and one by one it will destroy the instances, all the security groups attached to it, and you won't really be incurring any charges after this point. So this is gonna take some time, but I'm just gonna move away from there. It will just go through everything that it had created, and then clean up everything. So once cleaned up, everything that we've created will go away. Like for example, in the instances, it should probably be, if we look into the status, okay, this one, okay, I'm just gonna go back to the old way for now, because it actually tells you what's going on. The new way I haven't navigated much, so it's shutting down, right? So it's slowly one by one cleaning up everything that's needed, that's not needed, or that we have created in the past. So there you have it. You are able to use this repository to launch a Jenkins instance by just using one script, and there you have it. And we've also destroyed everything that we've created. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments on this, or if you'd like to contribute and create a pull request on this, I definitely can, or you can fork it to your needs as well. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for next videos. Okay.